Say, Stu.
Hey.
All right, we're back. We're tired.
Could you need a nap?
I'm tired. I don't want to hear about Stuart. Literally cannot complain about anything right now.
I can complain about you complaining.
I don't care about your plight. I don't care about anything wrong with you. I don't care because whatever you're feeling.
Yes, it is obvious. You didn't care that I was sick. You didn't care that I almost died.
Nope. Don't care. I have no sympathies left for Stu at this point in my life, so...
You never had any for me.
I know, but the little bit I had is gone.
The most sympathy I ever saw was when I got in that car wreck, and you were upset about that.
No, Stuart.
That was 25 years ago.
Okay, I am old and pregnant and, about to have another baby. Nothing that you're going through is... and I'm going to be that person compared to what I'm going through right now. I've been uncomfortable... for quite some time.
Have you now?
Yes. Anyways, we are back. Now, I'm just going to preface this. Listen, we can blame it on the fact that I'm pregnant and old or whatever. I was going to... So, yes, this episode is late going out this week. However, I was like, oh, I'm going to do a Valentine's Day because it's Valentine's Day. I was like, I'll do a Valentine's case. So I went, I wrote a case, did all the stuff.
I saw you.
And about the last 3 minutes of I was writing the case, last 3 minutes, I was like, man, something about this. The case didn't seem familiar, but the name, it didn't seem familiar when I started. But then, and normally I make sure, because I understand we should remember everything that we've recorded, but we don't. It's a lot. We're at 170 something episodes at this point, and it's been 8 years. Anyways, I'm like, Carla Walker. And I'm like, oh my God. So I wrote the whole entire episode for us to record. And I went and searched my files, and we did this case 2 years ago. So Stu's like, are you going to write another one? I was like, no, we're going to retell this one, but don't worry. It's brand new because I did rewrite it. So maybe you don't remember it either. And we can do it again.
Anybody that's new to the show, they've never heard it before either.
Yes, you may have never heard it before. So we're going to do this Valentine's Day episode out of Texas. Anyways, real quickly, patreon.com/blessthismesspodcast. You get the episodes 24 hours early and ad-free. You also get the pretty much regularly Shoot the Poo episodes, which is just us rambling on for a good solid 30 to 45 minutes. Yes, Stuart, I'm tired. Whatever. And then we have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I do true crime recommendations. So right now I've been giving some Valentine's Day episodes you can watch if you want to get in the mood,
Like our
stabbing or stabbing.
We love each other.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nothing like a murder to really tell the story of our love. Anyways, so I have those up. And then rate, review, subscribe, 5 stars only. Some people don't listen.
JoJo, talking to you.
They actually got offended I asked just for 5 stars.
Yes.
I really don't need you listening to this podcast. And if you're offended that I asked for 5 stars only as a joke.
And then she made it past that point.
Yeah, turn back now, okay?
Yes.
If you think that's ridiculous and oh, I can't, how dare she ask that, then just stop. I need you to pause. We'll wait for you to leave the room. Because you're not going to like this, okay?
It's not for you.
Not for you. Anyways, we don't take ourselves too seriously here. We, it's dark. It's a dark subject, but you got to find...
Need a little levity in there somewhere.
There's always you can always find something funny in it. Anyway, so that's what's going on. And then we have the baby update is we have no name. No hospital bag packed. I haven't registered at the hospital. We haven't pulled out any of the newborn clothes. We only got newborn diapers because someone at work had a bunch of extra and gave them to me.
Because they had twins. So I might be running down to Walmart today. I have to get a pool, and we'll just do all this here at the house.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's my other problem is that I would love to have an epidural. I would love to have an epidural that works. But the last two times they failed. So I'm now in the precarious position to decide if I should try another again, but it's very unsettling having someone jam a giant needle in your spine. And there's always risk with that, especially we're out here with this it's like 2-bit medical community.
Medieval.
Yeah, medical community out here. I don't know if I really want them.
Possibly some bloodletting.
I
We
don't
don't
want them
know.
like jamming a needle in my spine. So anyway, so I got to figure that out too. I got to figure out what's going on. Anyway, so that's the update. If anybody cares. And then we have children that are not cooperating with quiet time, so we're short on time. So we're going to go ahead and get into this week's episode out of Fort Worth. If you remember this, pretend you don't and just enjoy, okay? It's
Or
our
don't.
Valentine's episode.
Or bail out now.
Yeah, or just be like, never mind. I didn't even go back and listen to the other episode where we recorded because I can't do that to myself. I can't listen to our episodes, like it's too much for me.
And you want other people to listen to them?
Stuart, you can't listen to yourself. I don't know how. I just been like, every time I say anything, I'm like, oh my God, you're the dumbest person on the face of the planet, which some people in the reviews.
JoJo.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's go into this case. All right. Carla Walker was a 17-year-old girl growing up in Fort Worth, Texas. She attended Western Hills High School and was a cheerleader. Now, her boyfriend, Rodney McCoy, he was a senior, and he was the high school quarterback. So, like, this is the All-American. You're yawning.
Not into the microphone.
But you're yawning.
Well,
you have no right to
me.
yawn.
I'm tired of listening to you complain.
Shut up, Stuart. I'm so annoyed by you right now. Like, I told him the other day, I said, I've just been really snappy with him, but he's like the only acceptable person I'm allowed to be mean to at this point in time. So,
I expect my
everything
rewards here.
About him annoys me.
I expect my rewards here in a couple months.
Anyway, so she's a junior cheerleader. She's dating the quarterback of the high school. Like
Friday Night Lights?
Yes, things are like, they're like the all-American teenage couple. Now, Fort Worth at the time was a relatively safe place. I think it's safe now. It's safer than Dallas, but it's a bigger city now. But this was back in 1974, so. They lived in a safe neighborhood. Nothing really dangerous happened. I mean, they weren't worried about their kids, their teenagers running around town at night.
Not a bunch of stranger danger going on.
Yeah. Now, on Saturday, February 16th, 1974, Carla was attending the high school Valentine's Day dance with her boyfriend, Rodney. So they head out. They make it to the high school dance around 9:30 p.m. that night. They attend. They dance for a little bit. That's a late for a party, no?
Right?
Like, maybe it started earlier and they were just too cool to show up on time. Of course they were. They're the cheerleader and the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They got a late arrival.
They might have been in the car before they got there.
They will be getting in the car here in a minute. So, anyways, they show up at 9:30. They dance for a little bit. And then they decide to head out with some friends, and they go cruising the streets too.
Mm-hmm.
Which
been
was,
there, done that.
Yes, which is common back then. I didn't really do it that much, but we had there was definitely cruising Timberland Drive.
Had you a strip somewhere that you cruised.
And you turned around in the Sonic parking lot. I didn't do it that often. It wasn't really my thing, but we definitely did have a cruising strip. So I guess kids do that today. I don't know.
No, they just sit on their computers and sit on their iPads and do God knows what.
Yeah. Anyway, so they go cruising with these friends of theirs, but the friends had an 11:30 p.m. Curfew that night. So they go with them. They drop off the friends, and then they head off, drop off the friends at their house. And then Rodney and Carla, they decide they want to continue driving around, and they're also hungry, so they stop at Taco Bell.
Mm-hmm. Old Taco Bell,
Yes.
Been around for decades.
And I just thought, I know this is a murder. I understand that. But they ate the Taco Bell, and then after eating, Carla needed to use the restroom. I'm like, yeah.
And that would happen, yes.
Yes. I don't think I'd ever eat Taco Bell on a date night or whatever.
No. No. You got to wait till you're married for that. Yes. Or be pretty sure you're going home alone.
Yeah. Anyway, so she needs to use the restroom. So they stop by the local bowling alley. She runs in. She goes to the bathroom. And then she comes back out to the car. So instead of heading home, though, they are a young couple.
Young,
They
frisky
start
teenage couple.
necking in the in their vehicle or whatever. Anyway, so suddenly, while they're doing this, the door opens on Carla's side, and she almost like falls out of the vehicle because it just, I guess her head was leaning on the door, and she almost falls out of the vehicle. That's when a man, he pulls out a gun. He points it at Rodney. He actually pulls the trigger. However,
That'd make you crap your pants more than a
I
Taco
know.
Bell.
However, it does not go off. Now, since it didn't go off, the man, I guess, like panicked. He starts beating Rodney over the head, and that is the last thing Rodney remembers is getting hit, and then him hearing Carla say, "Just stop beating him, and I'll go with you."
When Rodney comes to, he realizes that Carla's gone, and he immediately drives to Carla's family's home, which is about a 3-minute drive away, to let them know what happened.
Because remember, this is 1974. I don't know what he's going to use to call.
I'm not sure there's a national
And I don't know.
911
And
at this time.
oh yeah, there's probably not. I think we
had that same conversation.
We've had this conversation. I don't think it's until like the 80s.
And then we had to look it up.
Yes. I'm not going to look it up again. Just keep going.
You're not?
No.
Are you sure?
I might while you're reading.
Okay. So he arrives at her home. He's covered in blood. He's clearly been beaten, and the family is in shock. They call police, and Carla's father grabbed his gun. He heads down to the bowling alley to see what he could find. They search the bowling alley area. No sign of Carla. The only evidence recovered in the parking lot were Carla's purse, as well as a magazine from the gun that was used. The magazine told police what type of gun it was, which was a Ruger 22 model. What do you think of naming the child Ruger?
No. What is wrong with you? God. 911 had the first call in 1968 in Haleyville, Alabama. However, it was not widely adopted until half of the country was by 1987. It wasn't until 1999 that Congress passed legislation to make 911 the universal emergency number.
I did not realize it was that late.
Well, I mean, I guess people are using it, but 911 didn't become the official number. But, yeah, so he wouldn't have had any, he was like a young kid. He wouldn't have known what to do but to like be like, oh, I need to drive home.
I need to drive to this payphone and call 911 at the bowling alley.
Yeah, so that's why he went to the parents' house.
To where the adults were?
Yeah, and then the dad, of course, being in Texas in the 70s, he just like, I'll grab my gun, I'm going to take care of this. Get me Carly back.
So, they get down there.
And they do what, Stu?
They find this magazine laying on the ground, which they assume was from whenever the suspect was hitting Rodney in the head with the gun, must have accidentally pressed the button, released the magazine from the gun, and that's why it was there, because I'm sure he didn't plan on leaving evidence at the scene. Basically, other than that, there's nothing really else to go on. She was just simply gone. Quickly, multiple law enforcement agencies were on the hunt to find her, as it was clear she was in extreme danger. There were also concerns because almost a year to the day before this, a 21-year-old by the name of Becky Martin had gone missing, and a few months after she had gone missing, they found her body in a culvert. With the similar age and the similar abduction style, authorities are concerned that they might have a serial killer on their hands. Since the abductions were similar, they thought possibly, if they are connected, Carla could possibly be in one of these culverts somewhere, so investigators begin driving up and down the road. They're checking every culvert they passed, wherever they came upon one on Benbrook Lane. Now, this was 4 days after Carla went missing when they came across her body in that culvert.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was... They still never... Well, we'll talk about it, but there's never... They were just... It was kind of lucky that they remembered that case and to even go look, because otherwise it could have been even longer before they found her body. But they had kind of narrowed it down to maybe possibly that being the likelihood of it being there.
The same person did it and would dispose of the body in the same manner. Yeah.
Other than similar things, the Becky girl from the year before was taken from her car and things like that. Other than that, there's not really, they don't have anything else to go on. Technology's not there to have, like, oh, the DNA matches.
Yes, they did not catch the person that abducted Becky either. So
yeah. So an autopsy was performed on Carla, and they did confirm that she had been kept alive for about 2 days. Now, during this 2-day time frame, they believe she had been tortured and raped multiple times until she was finally strangled to death. So this was like really horrific what this person did to her. They also performed a toxicology report on her, and they did find that she had been injected with morphine during the time of her capture, maybe because she was in so much pain, and the killer wanted to keep her,
From
alive
screaming.
or screaming, and so was injecting her with morphine. They were able to recover bodily fluids as well as preserve her clothing. However, there's not much back then that they could do in terms of testing. So all they had really to go on is like, let's just save this stuff as best we can, and hopefully
Sometime in the
future something changes. Now, the only thing that the investigators had to go on for a description of the killer was what Rodney saw, but due to him being beaten pretty severely, he couldn't really give that great of a description. He just saw the man like briefly, and then he was hit over the head multiple times, so it wasn't a great description. Now, they set up surveillance at Carla's funeral and took pictures of everyone who attended to try to see if they could like gauge a reaction. They made sure that everyone that came in had to pass by her casket just to see if anybody took an extra interest or something like that. Now, the boyfriend Rodney, he is the quarterback of the football team, so not many people really felt that he was capable of this. Even though he was the quarterback of the football team, he wasn't like a jackass. He was like a quiet kid. He was very upset about Carla. While she was missing, he was very close to her family. He actually stayed at her house and slept in her room, like while they were looking for her those 4 days or whatever. So he was very distraught over this, and he clearly had been attacked. Like that was very clear.
It wasn't self-inflicted.
Yeah, so most people didn't think in the town that he would do this or he was responsible. However, he was the main focus for police. They were like, he was there. He's the last one to see her. He's the boyfriend. It's always the husband or the boyfriend, which it normally is. Anyway, so, but why it doesn't make sense. After they found her body, the police just had nothing else to focus on, so they focused on Rodney, because after he found her body, where's he keeping, if they know she was alive for 2 days, where's he keeping her?
Whenever he was staying with
where's this
parents,
18-year-old boy keeping his girlfriend?
While he's beating and raping her.
Yes, and injecting morphine into her.
And somehow staying at the parents' house in her bedroom.
So it was completely ridiculous for the police to focus in on him, but they just didn't have anything else to go on, so that's what they did. He did agree to take polygraph test, and he passed multiple times. Eventually, he was cleared as a suspect because, again, it just clearly wasn't him. But it took a toll on him, and as soon as he graduated, he skipped town. He's like, I got to get out of here. This is just too much. The case quickly went cold after that. They just didn't have enough evidence to go on or any type of useful leads coming in, no tips from anybody. They did receive a few of those like letters, people saying, oh, I know information or I'm responsible.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know I'm sure it's common now, but I feel like it was really common back then for people to write in letters and put themselves in these.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I don't know. I don't know if it happens that much today. I don't know.
I don't know who's just like, oh, I want to get involved in this and bring suspicion upon myself.
I'm assuming it's the same people that are trolls in comment sections on social media these days are the same people that used to do this back then. I equate them to be
Mentally
similar
ill.
people. Yes. People that are just in the comment section just saying like stuff, like trolls.
Oh, well, they're just there to piss people off.
Okay. There's something wrong with someone who takes the time on social media to comment on something that has nothing to do with you just to get a rile out of people. There's something wrong with someone like that.
Oh, yeah. I remember that guy. What was that guy's name?
What guy?
Whenever we're trying to find a hotel in Paris.
Oh, yeah. So we had the guy, like, he like, really hated that we were bringing children to Europe.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I need to find a family-friendly hotel. And the guy's like, hey, maybe you shouldn't go take your children to Paris. It's
like,
rude.
he said Stu was a bad father.
I'm a bad parent for taking
and then
my
another
children to
lady, like, latched onto it, too.
Yes.
It was, like, the most bizarre thing that we were basically he basically equated us to, like, child abuse for bringing our children to Europe.
Because he likes going, I don't know. He likes to go to Paris, and he didn't want to see
He doesn't
children.
want to see children in Paris. And last time I checked, Europe did have
Children,
children.
yes.
Like that. Oh, people are fucking weird. So I'm assuming someone like him would be the one writing in
Putting
to do
himself
this.
in it.
Yes, and this was the old-fashioned way of doing that. However, none of those letters really led to anything. Now, the only thing they did have to go on was that gun, and like I said, it was like a unique gun. It wasn't that super of a popular gun back then. So they get a list of everybody who has that gun. They go and interview people, and they had a bunch of people take polygraph tests, and they would mark them off the suspect list if they passed the polygraph, which we all know today is not
It's a bunch of crap.
is
If
not
you're a
a great
psychopath, you can pass a
yes.
polygraph.
And so one of the suspects in particular was a man who said that he had his gun stolen about 6 weeks prior out of his truck, but he was going to replace it. And so he took a polygraph and he passed, and so he's marked off the list. And so now they've got literally nothing to go on. They've gone through the list of all the I think they had a list of about 80 plus people that they went through with the guns and stuff, and they all crossed them all off the list back in the 70s.
Now, as they did all this, all of a sudden the case goes cold, and it goes cold for decades.
Well, it's not all of a sudden, Stu. We've been talking about how the case was going cold, okay? It didn't suddenly go cold.
All of a sudden, Stu snapped while recording a podcast.
No, I'm
with his
going to
wife.
snap.
No, I'm going to snap first.
No, you're not, Stu.
I'm not. I don't do that.
I'm the only person that's snapping in this house today, okay?
Snapping. The case went cold for decades upon decades, all the way up until 2019, when a new detective decided to reopen the case based on the fact that we have new technology and that they had all this evidence preserved. The investigator started with that suspect list that they had cleared people based on just their polygraph exam, and he started out with the 80-plus suspects again. They also went and pulled all the evidence that had been preserved, including her dress, her underwear, her bra, to see if they could pull any usable DNA samples off those items. On the dress specifically, they were able to find a semen sample, and it did not belong to Rodney, and so that was one of the main items they focused on to try and get the DNA profile. The lab was able to pull DNA sample that could go into the CODA system. However, when they ran it through, there was nothing that was a match. The lab that did run the DNA sample was out of California, and they did try to run it through the genealogical DNA database. However, they were unable to complete that profile because they didn't really have a big enough DNA sample. So at this point, the investigators were at a loss as to what to do without a hit in CODIS. They were not able to proceed.
Yeah, so let me explain this in a non-scientific way, what my basic understanding was from this. This is, again, the DNA profiling. So they had enough to get the sample that needs to go in CODIS to try to get some matches up.
Got to be an exact
That's
match.
like let's just call that your basic bitch DNA profile, okay?
But you got to have an exact match to that.
Well, yeah, I think you have to have. I don't know how that works, but that's like your basic run-of-the-mill DNA profile. Probably any lab that does DNA. If someone's out there that does DNA stuff, probably not listen to us because they probably are too smart for us. But they can run.
So everybody else that listens to us is dummies.
Imagine that's like your base. Shut up. No, that's. Imagine the DNA sample for CODIS is a vanilla cupcake, okay?
Uh-huh.
So any lab can just bake up that vanilla cupcake if they have enough thing to like do it. However, if you want like a chiffon icing with a chocolate ganache, which would be equivalent to your genealogical DNA profile, where you're just have bits where you can go and match it to random ass people out in the universe, you need a special lab like with the really high technology, that's how DNA technology has progressed. You know, we could always get the basic DNA for CODIS here for a long time. But now in the last 10 years, with that Golden State Killer, they've moved in to be able to do this genealogical profiling or whatever. And if you do anything with this, you probably are like, wow, you're an idiot. But you know
totally
what?
butchered the whole process.
But you know what? Just have a cupcake. It's fine. Okay.
Chocolate cupcake will make everything better.
So that's my example, okay? They could only get the vanilla cupcake. They need the 7-layer
They just don't have all the ingredients.
chantilly cake, and they don't have a baker yet that can do this. They have the ingredients, but they need the baker who can produce this specialty cake. Now, during this time, like I just mentioned, the Golden State Killer case was being solved through genetic genealogy. And one of the main figures, if some of you recall, his name was Paul Holes. Now, Paul, because he was a big person in the Golden State Killer case, he got himself a show on the Oxygen Network, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so someone in the Fort Worth, like, police department or someone that was working this knew Paul. So they contacted Paul and they like shared the story and said, hey, I feel like we could really solve this if we had someone who could do the genetic genealogy on this. And so Paul was like, he was like, okay, we can do this. He said, I think I have a lab. The lab was called Orthram. And I think actually, I read that the Oxygen Network actually paid to have this done. So I don't know if they did a show on it. I didn't look.
Probably big news, big money, big ratings if they could.
Solve this cold case from a long time ago. So I don't know if that's true or not. That I read that somewhere. So maybe Oxygen maybe the Paul Holes did an episode with this. I don't know.
Well, Paul or Oxygen Channel, if you're listening, give us a call.
Give us a call if you want. I mean, I can.
If you want us to plug your shows.
If you want us to be on your show and talk about how the regular basic bitch DNA is a vanilla cupcake,
we will give you our expertise.
So anyway, he contacts this lab called Orthram. Now the issue is they had very little DNA left to like run this test, and the problem is whenever you test DNA, you destroy the sample. Like you can't just be like, here it's back.
No.
Whatever. So Orthram has to be really cautious about what cases they take because they do not want, if you don't have a lot, they don't want to waste your last DNA sample and then be like, we can't do anything. And then all you're stuck with is your regular one that was in CODIS that didn't match anybody. So anyway, the Orthram people, they look into it. They looked at they were told all about the case, had access to the crime scene photos and everything. And it was really because of the state that Carla's body was in, they were like, we can make this happen. We will get this done.
The lab does run the sample, and they were able to get a good sequence where they were able to send it out to try and determine what family lineage might be connected to this DNA sample. They're using the public records and the public DNA databases, and they were able to narrow it down to a family.
I think they had an age range, so they were based on probably Rodney's description.
Mm-hmm.
So they were looking at a specific age range for someone who lived in that Fort Worth area at the time. And so they found this family that they believed had the DNA, had someone that would have been similar in that age group that they were looking for, and was in the Fort Worth area at that time.
Yeah, so they call up the investigator. The investigator is given the name McCurley. Normally, they take the name and then they have to do some additional digging.
Yeah, normally, everything I've ever heard, like the Golden State Killer, that guy was never on the list of suspect list. But this guy...
Now, they said that the guy is on my suspect list from back in 1974 already.
Yeah, he had known... The investigator was so involved with this, he'd basically memorized
all 80
and he
plus
even
names.
knew who it was. He's like, I think that's suspect number 22.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, the man's name was Glenn Samuel McCurley, Jr., and this happened to be the man that was interviewed that had lost or had his gun stolen, and he was had this suspicious story, but he had taken the polygraph, and back then they were like, well, he passed, so
he's the one
he probably did lose it or have it stolen.
He's literally the only one that had a gun missing, or couldn't provide the gun and the magazines and everything. He was the only one because he said it had been stolen. So,
I mean, 1974
but he passed the polygraph, and so they let him go.
Yeah, well,
I don't know how they would have convicted him anyways, unless I don't know how unless he just spilled the beans. He's like, oh, I did this or whatever. So they began looking at. I'm always surprised they caught anybody back in the day without there's probably
DNA.
A lot of people in prison that aren't supposed to be though.
Quite possibly.
I feel like that's
why there's an Innocence Project.
Well, that's why I'm on the fence about the death penalty, especially if you were convicted way back then. I'm like
pre-DNA.
Maybe we should take a pause. I feel like if you were DNA, then it's a match and you did what you did. But if you have anything less than DNA, I'm like, I don't know. So Anyways, they begin looking at where Glenn is currently, and he would now be an elderly man. Because remember, this is how many years is that? 1974 to 2019, 26, 30.
It's 51 years, sir.
It's
51 years.
It's not 51.
To today it is.
No, but to 2019, it'd be 26. It'd be 46 years. 45, 46 years. So they're looking at like an old man at this point. Now this crime, so anyway, so they look, he is living in the Fort Worth area still. He has a wife. He's like this churchgoer, of course. Mm-hmm. Anyways, and they find out he's now 77 years old. Now, once they confirmed where he was living, they go and they kind of like root through his trash and everything like that. They get themselves a DNA sample from a container where he had drank out of, and they were able to run that DNA sample against that one that they had already developed, and it was a match. So now they could proceed with really going at him with questioning him.
Get a warrant.
Yeah, get a warrant, bring him in, and have some solid evidence to say, hey, we know you did this.
Police interview Glenn as well as his wife.
Like, they interview him together, which seems weird, but also it was, like, magical.
Now, the wife, because he was actually married in 1974 to the same woman, so that's why they're going to interview the wife.
Yeah, they were going to interview, but normally you would think they would pull them separate normally, but for some reason they interviewed them together. I don't know if he was because his age or something like that, or to make him more comfortable or something like that. But yeah, they interviewed Glenn and Judy were interviewed together.
Yes. Police asked him where he was the week that Carla went missing, and he said that he would have been driving his wife back and forth from work because she didn't drive. However, his wife was in the interview with him, and she clearly remembers that week that Carla went missing, and she knows that she was actually out
Basically? What do you...
I'm looking at something else.
Okay.
Knows that she was actually out in West Texas.
She was actually out in Midland, Stu.
In Midland, Texas?
Yes. She said Midland.
Lord. So she was being punished.
Yes, she was visiting her father who had surgery. Mm-hmm. But it was so funny because I could just see Glenn, because he's like he's talking about this and it's all recorded, and she's like, "Oh no, I wasn't out. I was out of town.
I was in Midland."
I could just be like, "Shut the fuck up, Judy."
Judy, Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ, Judy.
You're killing me here. So obviously this is a big win for investigators because he had nobody to alibi him the week that Carla went missing. Because yes, she clearly remembers she was not in town.
Yeah, and the surgery, you could probably like even look back at records because it was her dad's surgery. I'm sure they had records back then even that they could go. That's something you can go look at, too.
Yes, there was records back in the 74.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know if they chiseled your birth certificate on a freaking stone. I don't know, Stu. All right.
It might be.
Are you going to continue with your story?
Can I continue,
I don't
ma'am?
know. You had to cough and we had to pause, and it's annoying.
Well, police then asked
him... The way Stu breathes right now is annoying to me.
Well, the way you talk to me is annoying. They then asked him if he would be willing to give over a DNA sample, and he stated that he was pretty sure he did that back in 1974. But old Judy's like, well, that wouldn't have been possible.
I love Judy.
Because they didn't have DNA back then, and I think that came around more in the 80s. So it was clear now.
Judy's definitely been watching Dateline.
Yes. I'm not sure she likes him.
Well, no,
she might have been with him
just...
so long, and even his breathing irritates him. She's like, I hope
if I could get a few years of reprieve at the end of my life to not be around this man.
Son of a bitch.
I was going to say the importance of her saying that she was out of town was because, like we said, someone had to keep Carla alive for 2 days. Someone had to be able to take her somewhere, and so that's really important that she was completely out of town.
Yeah, it wasn't showing up.
It wasn't like a 2-hour window or something that someone could have killed. Someone needed days to commit this crime. But yeah, Judy's like she either is sick of him or she's just like could never imagine he would do this. But yeah, she was like pulling out. She's like, "Oh, you wouldn't have given a DNA sample. They don't have DNA back then."
Why would they ask for DNA when they weren't even testing that? Yeah. So, with the pressure, Glenn does give up the DNA sample.
Yeah, because his wife's sitting there like, why won't you give up the DNA sample?
Give him the DNA.
What's
you
your
didn't
problem?
do it, did you?
Yeah, Judy's my hero. She's like
And she just
the
cracked this
best.
case wide
Yeah, she
open.
did.
Just a week later, the results were back in, and they were a match, and they were able to arrest Glenn for the rape and murder of Carla Walker.
Now, when Glenn was brought back in for his official interview after he was arrested, so this was just the pre-interview to try to get the official, because they couldn't get an arrest warrant off the cup or whatever they pulled it in. They needed that official one. So they bring him back in after he's arrested, and he changes his story and said that he didn't even know who Carla was. He'd never heard of her. Like, he just like did an interview where he said he knew who Carla was. They showed him pictures and everything like that. They were like, hey, yo, Glenn, we just did an interview and you said you knew who she was. And his children went to, because he was 31 at the time, his children went to school at the same school as Carla. Like, he knew who was. They had memorials there. Like, everyone in the town knew what happened to Carla, and he literally just talked about it. So anyway, he denies any involvement with the rape or murder initially, but as the interview goes on, he must have felt some pressure from the investigators, and he just starts breaking down and crying. They had like a female and a male investigator in there, and the female one was like holding his hand, kind of being like,
come on, give me the
comforting
goods, buddy.
to him
Give me
and
the
everything
goods.
like that. And then
Good
he
cop,
just starts,
bad cop.
yeah, he starts just breaking down and said that he did do it. And they asked him how he did it, and he said, and as he's crying, he said, I choked her. Well, they've been asking him about that gun that he claimed was stolen prior to Carla's attack, and he finally admits that he does have the gun. It was hidden in a little little like nook up off his storage area in his house. So they were able to get in a warrant and go and actually recover that gun. Kind of just all the pieces are together now. Now, despite admitting that he did do it, saying that he choked her and all this stuff, he did decide to go on trial. He pleaded not guilty, and he went on trial in August of 2021. Probably trying to play up the old man aspect, because at this point, it's kind of like the Golden State Killer when he was rolled in the wheelchair, and I think he thought everybody felt sorry for him. It's like, no, you're a terrible human being. Just because you're old now doesn't change that. Anyways, about 3 days into his trial, he changed his mind and he decided to take a plea deal. Now, he did do an interview later with Texas Monthly, and he just said, I was tired of all the hounding. Just
tired of the hounding?
What's so crazy, though, is he never committed another, or that they know of, committed another crime after this. Like, he's not tied by DNA to any other crime. Anyways, Glenn was incarcerated and sentenced to life in prison. However, he would be eligible for parole in 2029. I'm guessing it probably has something to do with when he committed the crime and also probably like age and stuff like that. However, he would pass away in prison in 2023. Now, like I said, there was the case that was like a year before with Becky. They were never able to tie him to that, but there was also like 6 or 7 other women in that time frame that went missing, but they weren't able to tie, because they thought it was like a serial killer, but they weren't ever able to tie them to him.
Oh, Glenn.
Or I'd have to look I don't think they ever solved Becky's case or anything like that. So,
well, it seems like yeah, he would. Him kidnapping that girl and keeping her for 2 days, shooting her up with morphine was not his first rodeo, I don't think.
No, I don't know how I don't know how many other people, but that's not, that's not your like gateway crime right there. That's like a serious serial killer, I feel like. So I'm sure he probably killed other women, but they just never could catch him on
tie it to him.
Yeah.
Didn't leave enough DNA profile, or they never collected it.
Yeah.
At the crime scenes.
Yeah. All right, so that's our case out of Texas. If you remember us doing this one 2 years ago,
you got a better memory than Kara, evidently.
I'm sure I said different things. Listen, okay?
You probably said the exact same thing. Kara can't even remember where she left her phone like 2 seconds ago.
Okay, I have someone competing for brain cells right now, okay? That's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to use this excuse as long as I can.
You're going to ride it till you
I'll
can't
ride it out,
no
okay? Anyway, so, yeah, that's our case, our Valentine's Day case. Stu, do you have a Y'all Need Jesus for
I
us?
do.
Okay.
There was a plethora of Y'all Need Jesuses coming out of the woodwork here in the last couple weeks. You gave me that one last week we did, but I already had this one loaded up.
Okay.
Just had to go back and
So you were
find
accidentally prepared because I provided you one for last week.
Well, I have another one too.
Oh, okay. Wow, you're
Would you
really
like
on
me to
top
read
of
both of
things.
them?
No, we're
No,
just
there's a
doing
lot of
one.
dumbass people out there, is all I'm saying.
No, we're just doing one. We'll do the next one next time. Okay. I'm hot. I need to get out of here.
Yeah, baby.
This closet is burning up.
Coming to us from Channel 5 WCSC Live 5 News, January 30th, 2026, by the TMX staff, whoever that is. Man accused of sexual performance with a vacuum at a resort, authorities say.
Ew.
Florida or not Florida?
Florida. And this is why I love to travel, but I also hate to travel because there's people like this that stayed in your room prior to you.
Prior to you being there?
Yes.
The pineapple people in your
Oh,
cruise room?
yes. And that's why when we went to the Terlingua thing, because I was freaked out, I was like, anything that we can that's you use in there, I was like, what if these bitches are like mad at us or whatever and they did something to our sheets or something or cups? So I literally brought I'd already thought about this in places, so we brought our own sheets because also you're like cuddling up to a pillow and it's like, is it clean? We brought our own towels, and I'll probably start doing this just because it really is gross. You don't know if they like cleaned it properly.
Washcloth up the crack of their ass.
The other thing I brought is the ew.
What?
Stop, Stuart. Anyways, I also brought our own Keurig, like little mini Keurig machine, because I've also started getting grossed out by the Keurig machines they put in the hotel rooms now. Because how do you know someone didn't like drink out of a bottle and then be like, oh, I just need water for my coffee and then just pour it in there?
Pour their water bottle in there?
Yeah, that they already drank out of.
Spit?
Yes. Like, we don't know the level of cleanness. It's just like gross. I've just gotten to the point where everything's gross. So I just would rather bring my own stuff. And this is probably an example.
Kissimmee, Florida.
I knew it, Florida.
Authorities in Florida said a man is facing charges for allegedly walking nude around a resort and publicly engaging in a sexual act.
Oh, he's just walking around the resort. He's not even in his room. God knows what he did in his room then.
With a vacuum cleaner.
Was that the name of his nickname for his girlfriend, I hope? Or is it?
Well, no, I always have trouble pronouncing the Osceola County Sheriff's Office. Said deputies responded to the Windsor Hills Resort in Kissimmee on January 22 after receiving reports that a man was exposing himself in front of a residence. The suspect was gone before deputies arrived, but witnesses provided statements and cell phone video of a partially clothed man outside the residence engaged in sexual performance with a vacuum cleaner. That must be a video. I wonder if that's on YouTube.
I'm sure it's on TikTok somewhere.
Investigators learned the suspect identified as 51-year-old Kara Kevin Dale Westerhold.
Well, no, that sounds about the age that I would expect of a
51-year-old.
Yes.
So somebody my age.
Yes.
You expect somebody my age to be having sex with a vacuum?
Wow. You've gotten pretty down far in life. Like, you've been beat down for quite a few decades. Dude. Like, I don't see a 21-year-old walk around. They still got some hope that they're going to get, like, a woman. This guy's been decades of being beat down to the point where he's like, this is an acceptable thing to do.
Wife is pregnant again. She won't give me any. Where's vacuum cleaner?
Oh, my God. What is wrong with you? Shut up.
What?
Just read your stupid story. Leave me the fuck alone.
No, this is where it gets good, Kara.
This is where it gets good?
And this is where you're going to be like, I knew it.
Okay.
51-year-old, well, I got to find my spot. Kevin and his wife are listed as hosts for Airbnb properties at Windsor Hills Resort.
This is exactly why we don't use Airbnbs either anymore, okay?
Investigators also reviewed a complaint from the day prior, January 21, about a nude man in a shared hallway. Ring camera video of the incident was provided. Multiple additional residents provided statements reporting similar behavior. Some of those incidents had been reported to Homeowners Association in December of 2025. Residents provided Blink, I guess that's like Ring, videos allegedly showing Westerhold nude or partially clothed in the shared hallway. He was arrested on January 27th near his Ovidio residence by the Ovidio Police Department. The sheriff's office said He was booked into Seminole County Jail on charges of exposure of sexual organs. Sheriff's Department says the investigation is ongoing.
All right, that is our. You have more to say?
I have nothing else to say. I think that was plenty. A man having sex in the shared hallway with a vacuum cleaner.
That's. All right, we got.
Who is an Airbnb host?
All the things that I
abhor
yes.
lately.
All right, well, that is our case for this week. Our Y'all Need Jesus. We are going to try to record a Shoot the Poo tomorrow. And we're going to talk about another Valentine's Dateline that I watched that was like...
wackadoo.
Yes, the husband was a real piece of work on that one. So, anyways, all right, I think that's it. So, Stu, do you have anything else to add?
Do I need to add anything else?
No, you don't need to add anything
Okay.
else. All right, we will...
Bye-bye.
Okay, Anna, go. Shoot. All right, we will... See you next time. Bye, everyone. Say bye, Stu.
Bye, Stu.
Don't you know it's bad luck to be superstitious, but nothing else is working